previously from Wheaton.
He was a lone wolf who killed a serial murder that preyed upon this city's vulnerable women. I've never met the man, but I'd shake his hand for cutting out a cancer in these communities.
This ain't an infomercial. Taking your burdensome, violent, reefer-mad brothers into your halls and off the streets of Murderapolis, just one city away.
Our people, AAGs, Les Nouveaux Immigrants or not, who come through our doors, who listen, who can retain, who can implement our lessons using their natural talents, can execute the plans others can only dream of.
Chapter 3. The Virgin Daughter. In the Western District, Ms. Banks had given a rousing speech, attended by tens of people in a grungy, mold-infested VFW basement. She wore the most stylish of shoes, the prettiest of dresses, and a black armband which had a white circle embroidered with a proud red swastika. Ms. Banks had a distinctive laugh and a prominent nose like Lulu's. After one of those energy-filled orations, she gave a more private meeting with 5 of her admirers. In a trailer park by an exhausted farm field, she tied herself to a broken headboard while laying face up on a soiled, funky yellowed and brown mattress, wearing ripped clothing. She handcuffed her left wrist to the headboard. Her free hand pulled on a rope, which drew her legs apart and up towards her shoulders, folding her in half like a freshly made crepe. She slid her free hand into a slip knot and pulled it closed.
Fuck.
She yelled degrading slurs at her attendees in a trill voice. You fucking big black nigger bucks. You want this premium white Christian pussy, huh? Mudfucker. No gooks, no wetbacks. No Irish in this precious princess. The sounds and sights of this scene were unappealing to most, but not this group. They stood naked in an undulating line of ashen, pale, average bodies. These men wore blackface or wore cheap, gaudy rubber masks of savages, with bones protruding from their ears and noses. As she screeched, the men stroked themselves in carnal anticipation and inched closer to her sweaty, shiny body. 3 augmented white rats crept unnoticed into the trailer's bedroom. The fattest of the trio found a discarded, half-eaten pizza slice and began to nibble on it. One of the men yowled out as a muffled shot broke his focus and his associate's skull. That first shot was followed by 4 simultaneous shots, leaving all 5 men dead or dying.
Clear.
Mrs. Banks attempted to cry out,
Move.
but she stared in shock. With newly shined brown boots, Tong walked into the bedroom and stepped over one of the painted-faced dead men. Tong's face was covered and decorated in yellowish Thay Naka paste. His dark eyes were accentuated by the spiral designs and color of the mask. Tong's eyes settled onto Vanessa's body and he said,
You know, you do look like the lieutenant.
Ms. Banks untied her hand, then stopped. Tong's gunmen shot the wounded men in their heads to finish them off. Another one of Tong's men sprayed painted on the wall what looked like the local anti-fascist gang's symbols. Ms. Banks cried in response until one of Tong's men covered her head with a thick, clear plastic bag. Liberius continued,
I don't know of David Frank's politics or his sanity, but I'd shake his hand just for that deed.
Liberius paused, looking directly into the autonomous camera rig. The rig's base was subtly embossed with the words, Made by OAA, on top of a white painted symbol of a butterfly. He continued,
For that, one deed. But after today, I will not speak this man's name again.
Charlie, eyes alert, asked,
So, your organization produces murderers and then applauds their actions?
He straightened the lapels of his jacket and pushed his earpiece further into his ear. His smile was that of a man who just said one of the most smartest things ever uttered. Just behind the band, the maintenance workers and the production crew members gathered to watch the live show. In between bites from a dripping tuna fish sandwich, one of the men whispered, This shit is boring as all of hell. No, it's getting interesting now, said his friend. Something strange always happens when these mushroom-eating motherfuckers leave their town. Liberius asked,
Do we produce murderers? Weathers was a murderer, a serial murderer. He was raised to only believe in himself. He terrorized your city and my town. The Weathers family produced that wretched man. We produce productive tax-paying blue-collar along with white-collar workers. I deplore the use of violence. My constituents have seen havoc wrought by men in wars. Neither they nor I want to see innocent lives cut down.
Liberius cleared his throat, then continued.
That man cut out a malignant cancer on this city and then surrendered without force. He was a citizen of Wheaton. That man broke our law. He accepted your punishment without argument. He donated all of his assets to the Lulu Foundation, a victim survivors agency. Who else but an academy graduate would do such a thing?
Liberius asked.
Has the Weathers family done anything to help heal this city? I know they'll ignore their responsibility, but they are smart because they pretend that that horrible person they coddled didn't exist, that he wasn't an integral part of their manufacturing empire. I will do something similar.
Liberius placed his right hand on his heart and then pushed his large free palm away from himself.
The murderer has been excommunicated from our graces. He acted outside of the law and outside of our laws. We have no time for him or others like him. We are here to help within the law.
We? You sound like the Queen, so ostentatious.
Offerman sat back in his seat and pretended to sip tea with his pinky extended and looked into the camera. Liberius smiled, showing his white teeth, chuckled, took a sip of his drink, then wiped the corner of his mouth. Liberius then laughed genuinely and pointed at Offerman. Liberius threw up one hand with his fingers pointing different ways, the way his mother would when someone would ask her silly questions.
Yes, I sound a bit pretentious. You can be funny, Charlie. But I can never forget I represent something more than myself. A community of people, organizations who can be an asset to your city.
An asset, really?
Charlie belted out in his horrible accent.
You foreign-born, arrogant elitist. Only want to be seen in a good light. It's obvious you're...
Liberius began to talk before Offerman could get started.
We're far from elitist, Charlie. My lovely counterpart, Mrs. Garang, along with myself, want the best for Wheaton. We sacrifice our sense of self in hopes of providing the best outcomes in dire situations of life, including your city's social engineered failures. Some of us pretend to be something more than what they are, use unique accents to cover up their humble beginnings, clothe themselves in expensive suits worn badly, then beg for applause. Oh, Charles.
Liberius' large brown eyes scanned Charlie Offerman up and down. Charlie attempted to interrupt, but Liberius looked at Offerman. Charlie stopped moving, stopped talking, stopped breathing, until Liberius finished.
I make sure what we do is moral as well as profitable. The things that are found to be less than that ideal are brought into the light.
The camera panned away from the suffocating, panicking host and focused on Liberius.
We are transparent in our dealings. When we fall short, a council of the best of us judge the actions as well as the people responsible. Punishment is swift, fair, certain. We attempt to be an example, not elitist. We follow our rule of law.
Charlie began to cough and tear up. Liberius sat back in his seat and told his host to calm himself.
Charles,
Liberius said in his soothing, melodic voice,
be honest. I'd love to hear what you fear really. Seriously, I would. Why do you? Your show produced so much vile misinformation about my organizations. It's people. We're friends. We are best friends. You can trust me. Tell me, Charles. Tell me now.
Charlie began to talk slowly at first, then blurted out half sentences between sniffles. He began to sweat. The tears in his eyes began to well up. His voice shook as he whimpered.
Everyone is scared of you guys. In Gresham, a bunch of you janitors and goddamn shoe shiners took over a city.
Charlie looked away from Liberius.
Held off the federal government, killed over 300 fucking good people.
Charlie let his earpiece fall out. Charlie's producer was screaming on the other end for Charlie to compose himself. But That was a lost cause.
In New Ulm, you all left the town and sank its economy.
Why did these things happen, Charles?
The rings around Liberius's wrist lit up so bright that they could be seen underneath his shirt's cuffs, and Charles's eyes fixed upon the light.
Because,
Charlie swallowed, then continued.
we saw the carnage after Gresham. Smouldering tanks and fighter planes just mangled. We looked at the broken bodies of soldiers, men, women, children and animals laid out in neat rows on the TV, the bombed and burnt out homes and government buildings. We're fucking frightened because janitors did that, and you are here now, uppity foreigners.
Charlie shook his head slowly as he spoke.
Somehow you're engineers, doctors and construction workers, and you all look like the East Germans are feeding you. I wish this was Tulsa. We need another Red Summer.
Oh, Charles.
Liberius interrupted.
Those handfuls of average AAG's workers that took revenge against the city for poisoning their bodies.
Liberius moved closer to Charlie.
They were lied to by politicians, the same as yours, by doctors touting the benefits of atomic medicine. Nothing more than poison.
Liberius's lip curled up in irritation. Liberius continued,
No more than human radiation experiments, sadism cultivated by scaremongers. Those women, those men did what we all think about in our darkest fantasies. They were wronged, embarrassed, thought to be easy prey. After burying their kids and elderly, after winning judgments, after waiting for justice in vain, they brought down a biblical storm upon the folks that wronged them. But they are not us here. Could your people, these citizens here, protect themselves? Be feared, be respected as us, like the residents of New Gresham?
Liberius sat back in his seat and cracked a smile.
No. The answer is no. Not without power. Not without us.
Charlie looked weary. He said,
We wonder what would have happened if 1 or 5 of those black monsters that are seen patrolling proper new immigrant cities arrived here. Rumour has it, those things are here. If we vote, then what? You will do what you want. You want our land and want to replace us. Steal away our homes, have our wives. People like you scare people like us. The constant banging from the men and machines building in that rat-infested town of yours. Call it what you want. It was a ghetto slum and will always be a slum.
Charlie covered his ears with his fists, then threw open fingers in front of his face as he continued talking.
What the hell is glowing on you?
Charlie paused and looked away from Liberius and ran his ringed fingers through his hair.
What else, Charlie? Something personal, something juicy. Tell me something. What will you be talking about next?
Liberius asked.
Well, I feel stupid when I talk to a new immigrates woman. They don't want a Nat guy like me. I'm Charlie fucking Offerman, and they don't want to have anything to do with me.
Charlie wept.
I feel inadequate. This isn't right. This isn't natural.
Drop the accent, Charles. Isn't it tiring? Speak, Charles. I accept you. It's okay.
The camera was focused on Charlie's face. I masturbate to things that once were men. I'm not gay, but... Charlie trailed off. He looked at the floor for a while. Liberius shook his head and looked away from Offerman. Next from Wheaton.
Mr. Kleinert, there's a 79.9% chance now she will be producing as much estrogen as a 20-year-old. You should think about replacing your heart so you can keep up.
I'd rather be dead than a part of your little town, eating mushrooms and drinking your own piss. Fucking disgusting. You're not human.
I have produced things, wonders, piercing the so-called Van Allen radiation belt and reintroducing logic, my logic, back into your world. We've kept this country relevant and tied together. I can continue to do the same or not.
Find us on YouTube, X, and housewarwar.com.